Good morning, everybody. It is just about 11:30 on Monday morning. I normally would go live at 11, but I was dropping my Lily off at my sister's house so they can go school clothes shopping with my mom. That's the annual event that she and my mom and my sister do, and they have a great time doing it. And so it took us a little longer to get settled, so that's why I'm a little bit later this morning. But I'm here. It's Monday. It's rainy. It's cold. It's Labor Day. I expect some of you were planning to do fun things for the end of summer, the unofficial end of summer, but we need the rain, and I'm grateful for it. And the rain sort of certainly matches my mood today. And in fact, I wasn't even sure what I was going to talk about today. I've been feeling pretty anxious and heavy recently, which, as someone who specializes in happiness and teaching happiness and teaching the science of happiness, for me to feel anxious these days, it used to be my normal state. I used to live in this anxious state most of the time. It was so chronic that I didn't even know it. Like, I didn't even realize how anxious I truly was. I just thought it was sort of normal. And then I finally got some space from it. I got some distance from that anxiety, and I started to figure out that all that angst underneath, all that fear, all that worry, all the heaviness and sadness and trauma that I was carrying, part of it wasn't mine. Part of it was old trauma. Part of it was an old story. And when I finally figured out unpacked the roots of those things and finally got to be in this place of like being comfortable in my own skin, that anxiety got better. And I don't have to deal with that anymore. It's not my chronic day-to-day state. So now when I feel anxious, it's noteworthy because it's not something that I live in all the time. And I think for most of us, we live in a chronic anxiety state right now. There's a lot of first chakra stuff. The demon of first chakra is fear. And there's a lot of fear out there right now. There's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of what feels like instability. It feels like the ground is shifting underneath us constantly. I said to one of my clients the other day that she didn't have terra firma underneath her. And actually she hadn't ever felt terra firma underneath her. And when we named it, when we named that, we could get to a place where we could create it for her. But we had to actually name it first, because she didn't know. She didn't, like me, she just lived in this chronic state of anxiety and the fear and preventing what possibly could be happening. And when you start to learn to trust that everything is happening exactly the way it should be, and nothing is, I don't want to say nothing is in your control, but the reality is very little is in your control. Truly, the only thing that you have control over is you and your reactions to things. I mean, life is always happening. Life is always happening. It will hand us lemons. This is the Earth School, which is the school of hard knocks. Life is always happening. Our job is to learn how to make lemonade with it. And sweet, juicy, yummy, tasty lemonade the best way we can. So this morning, when I woke up anxious, it was stark, because it's not my normal state. But it's also, what I noticed, familiar. And I can easily find myself falling back into the same patterns, all the same sort of woe is me patterns. The patterns that say, why is this happening to me? What is this? What is this here? Why me? Why is this happening? And I caught myself this morning doing that exact thing. And one of the things I teach my clients all the time, and so I teach this because I live it. One of the things I teach my clients all the time is, I'm like, well, what is this here to teach me? How is this for me? And just that shift, just that change of perspective can open you up to possibilities. Because when you're like, why is this happening to me? You're fighting against reality. And when you're fighting against reality, you're fighting. And you'll, like, to quote Byron Katie, you fight against reality, you will lose 100% of the time. Good morning, Janice. Thank you for watching. If you're watching, if you're joining us, say hi, drop a note, let me know who you are. If you're tuning in as a replay, let me know that too. Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying attention. If this resonates with you at all, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know that too. And if there's things you want me to talk about, let me know. I do this every week, once a week, Mondays with Robin. And I just talk about what's up. So as we fight with reality, when you fight with anything, it fights back. Because you're putting energy into a system. The whole world is just energy. It's all patterns. It's all energy. So when you're fighting against reality, you got something to fight up against. And neither one of you is going to get anywhere. So when you ask the question, how is this for me? What is this here to teach me? You've now given the chance for an opening. And when you give the chance for an opening, you can have a 1 degree shift. And when you have a 1 degree shift, over time, it takes you to an amazing place. But you have to actually have the space for an opening. And that's what that question is. What is this here for me? And I asked that question this morning, and I haven't gotten an answer yet, but it did give me peace. It did take that, like, angst feeling. It took the intensity out of that angsty feeling. And then just now, as I was dropping my daughter off with my sister went to California last week, and she brought me back this beautiful little book of poetry, The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. And apparently I've never heard this book, I've never heard this poet, but it's all just little simple poems. And just on the back cover, it says, "This is the recipe of life," said my mother, as she held me in her arms as I wept. "Think of those flowers you plant in the garden each year. They will teach you that people, too, must wilt, fall, root, rise in order to bloom." And that was the back cover. Like, that was just the beginning. And so then, I know that my guides are always talking to me, and my job is to just listen, that's true for all of us. Our guides are always talking to us. So I had asked the question, what is this? What am I here to learn? What is this here? How is this for me? Right? And I opened the page randomly, and the poem I opened said, "I do not weep because I'm unhappy. I weep because I have everything, yet I am unhappy." And I get chills reading it again, because this is the crux of what I do. What I call fierce happiness is nothing outside of you will ever make you happy. Nothing and no one will ever make you happy. But yet when you have that internal state, that internal calm, that internal belief or trust in yourself, nothing and no one out there can take it away. And that was a really powerful message for me this morning. I needed that so deeply. I needed to hear it. It was so powerful for me in such a profound way, as a reminder. Nothing out there makes me unhappy. It's my job. It's my job to cultivate happiness and joy and peace and surrender and trust that there is a divine plan. I don't always get to know what it is. I don't always get to even be happy about it. But there is a divine plan. And if I look back in my lifetime, 100% of the time, I was taken care of. I survived the worst of my worst days. And it always was in service of some new growth pattern. So right now, what feels like a constriction for me is just the preparation for growth. And so I'm learning to be grateful in the constriction. The opposite page of this poem says, "Let it go. Let it leave. Let it happen. Nothing in this world was promised or belonged to you in any way. All you own is yourself. And again, it's exactly what I just talked about. These two, the fact that they're back to back, I don't think it's not a coincidence. The fact that I opened them as I thumbed through the book that my sister gave me 5 minutes ago, turned my whole world around today. And because of it, my energy shifted. I feel lighter. I feel easier. I can breathe again. I don't have the anxiety that was plaguing me all day. And this is how we create. This is how we change our world. This is how we heal. By making 1 million micro decisions every single day. Choose joy. Choose fierce happiness. And truly, this is the culmination of 25 years of self-mastery and personal development work. And I just told you, I'm not always perfect at it. But I've had healers and teachers and gurus. I've never not had a coach or a teacher or a healer since I was, 20-something. It's 25 years. You can't do this work alone. You can't solve the problem at the level it was created. You need someone who can hold the space for you to do it. You need teachers and guides and mentors and healers. I have 1 million different ways for you to work with me, and I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible. Yes, my Chakras of Happiness course is a 6-month deep dive, and that's an investment. Yes, I completely get that. And I also feel like people are sort of scared and money, whatever. So if the Chakras of Happiness isn't your thing, fine. It is for 12 women and 8 spots. There's 4 spots already taken. So there's 8 spots left. And if you're called there, this is your sign. This is your guides saying, hey, are you ready to stop living Groundhog Day? Because I promise you at the end of it, you'll be different. Good morning, Katie. So Chakras of Happiness, yes, that's an investment. But the rest of my courses, the rest of my programs, the rest of my stuff isn't. 4 Weeks to Fierce Happiness, it's less than $100 a session for 8 sessions in 4 weeks. It's amazing. One-on-one coaching with me, again, is a little bit of investment, but we're talking about a 6-month dive once a week. So you have that consistency, that practice. And always, always, always is one-to-one, one-off healings if you just need a little bit of oomph to get you going. And I make this as accessible as possible. I'll work on a sliding scale if you need it, because I totally understand what it feels like to have your nose pressed up against the glass and feel like you can't afford it. So never let money stop you from getting the help that you need. Good morning, Dawn. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for watching. I say this all because I think right now there's a hesitancy. Like I said, all of us are feeling this collective heaviness, this anxiety, this like shifting sands underneath us. I don't think any of us feels like we have a secure footing. I don't think any of us feels really solid. And our first chakra is the one taking the hit. First chakra is root, tribe, family, society. And it is changing. We are no longer in the same world that we once were, and we're never going back to it. And I watched an astrologer last week talk about how October and November might be the most intense months we've had thus far this year because of all the energetic changes. We are in the time of great upheaval. Our first chakras are feeling it. That's fear. That's insecurity. That's lack and scarcity. This is all first chakra stuff. And every single one of us is feeling it. And because every single one of us is feeling it, we're creating that. That's our energy signature. So every single one of us is feeling it. So then we're sending that signal out to the universe, which means that's the universe is creating more of that. So we're creating this vicious feedback loop of fear, lack, insecurity, and scarcity. How can we create from that space? So let me give your first chakra a break. Let me help you. Shit, come to my Chakras of Happiness class and spend 6 weeks in first chakra with a tribe of women who will love you and see you and think you're amazing. as is. You get to really deal with your shit in a very real way. And first chakra right now is a big deal. And if the investment is too much and you can't manage it, talk to me. I'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way to get you into the class, and you can pay. I guarantee you, once you're in the class, you'll want it and you'll see an amazing deal of it. I know this because that's what happened last year. I made first chakra, pay what you can afford. And then every single person kept going for twice what they had, for 3 times what they had already paid. It was amazing. So just talk to me, work with me. I promise. If you sign up by the 15th and pay in full, obviously you get a discount, but I can work with payment plans. And again, I get it. Chakras of happiness may not be your thing, but I have a million other programs. Working with your guides. I'm trying to figure out, I think I'm going to do that in September. Working with your guides I'm just going to do that as a couple of hour masterclass kind of thing for short money. I don't know, less than $50. So stay tuned for that. And if you're interested, please drop me a comment. Drop me a comment in there about the Working with Your Guides class. Cause that's, I think it's a brand new class I've never done, but I think it's time. But we need, the world needs you to do your work because the world we need to feel safe again. In this destruction. I mean, there's a level of destruction that's happening. The sands are shifting. But let's give us all a little bit of terra firma to work from. Have a wonderful day. I love you all. And just for today, what can you do to choose? How can you ask the question, how is this for me?